As part of Vital's 2022 short travel test session, we put our 4 test bikes against the clock to see which was fastest going uphill. Many factors such as tire choice, suspension design, and geometry affect how quickly and efficiently a bike climbs. With slight variations in components and intended use, we wanted to analyze how each bike performs with the parts they are spec'd with and how suspension lockouts can affect climbing performance. So, which bike is the fastest? We took Alchemy's Arktos 120, Scott's Spark 910, Ibis's Exie, and YT'S IZZO, and pedaled each up a mellow 2-minute long dirt road to find out. Oh, and just to clarify, this was not a highly controlled test performed in a vacuum. We are aware there are plenty of variables at play, from tire choice to wind to road surface, but hopefully some insight can be derived from the results produced. Alright, today we're going to do an efficiency test. So basically the goal today is I'm going to do the same climb on all 4 bikes in both open and locked suspension setting. And the goal is just to kind of see, where each of these bikes falls. They're all short travel bikes that are meant to be fast and efficient, especially on the climbs. So to try to keep things controlled, I have a set of SRM power meter pedals connected to my Garmin, and that allows me to see what power I'm riding at basically instantly, as well as a 3-second and 10-second average. My goal is to stay around 250 watts for all the bikes. On top of that, I'm going to run tire pressure the same. The one thing I'm not going to do for this test is swap out all the tires. So we're going to run the bikes how they come stock from the manufacturer, as well as how we've been testing the bikes the last 2 weeks. And the reason we're going to do this is that all these bikes are spec'd with tires that kind of meet the intended use that those brands see for their bike. For example, Ibis's Exie comes with Maxxis Recon Race tires that are super low profile, very low rolling resistance, and really matches the climbing abilities of that bike. The same hand, they don't have a lot of traction and grip, which maybe isn't a priority if you're on a 120, 100 mil bike. On the other hand, you have Alchemy's Arktos, which has Maxxis Mini DHF and a DHR tire combo, which offers a bunch of grip and traction on the descents to match how well that bike does descend. Also has a little bit slower rolling resistance, which maybe isn't a priority if you're on that bike. All that's to say that if each of those bikes, both those bikes came with reverse tires, it probably wouldn't line up with how we see most people riding those individual bikes. So yeah, the goal today is just to kind of put in a consistent effort and see where all the bikes fall. So bike number 1, Scott Spark, starting it off with the suspension open, and I'll see you in an hour. Save every ride as its own ride to kind of keep it organized, but that was Scott Spark with the twin lock not engaged, the suspension completely open. All right, see you in another 8 minutes. I will say, even though all these tires have different tread patterns on them, and some are meatier than others, all the Maxxis tires are their EXO casing, and then Schwalbe's is their, what's the name of it? Schwalbe's is their Speed Race? Super Race. The point is that they're all their lighter, faster, more like Exie trail focus casing. So the pattern's different. The weight between all of these bikes, between the Recon Race being the lightest and then the DHF, DHR combo on the Arktos, the weight difference for rolling tire weight is only 260 grams, which is something, but it's not too big. So for all the weight weenies out there, for everyone hating on me not swapping out all the tires on these bikes, there's another reason for you. One cool thing about these pedals is that they're a left and a right, so you can do, on your Garmin, you can show how much power you're putting out between each leg, how balanced you are, which is kind of neat. I favor my left leg. Didn't know that before this, so my left leg looks so much stronger. Do it again.
What's our consensus?
Oh my god, I'm afraid to even look now. The mid-efficiency test is really giving us some unique data here. It's not exactly going how I thought it would. See how that went. Safety first, big climb ahead. Alright, last bike. Finally here. So probably like one of the most interesting things is how like the Ibis Exie actually went slower with the suspension locked out, and I think part of that is that like the road we did is just rough enough that this bike's a really good pedaling platform, and it's super efficient, but when you lock it out, it almost, when you hit bumps, kind of holds you back just a hair. I think you just kind of lose like your fluid pedaling motion, as opposed to when it's open, it's still super firm. It doesn't feel like it's holding you back, but you're not getting caught up on like small little like car braking bumps and stuff. It's definitely interesting how like the IZZO goes from being the slowest when it's open, which it definitely feels like that. It feels the most like a full-size trail bike where it bobs a lot more and you're losing more energy just as you pedal it. You're also like a little bit more kind of stood up in a more like comfortable position and you're not too forward. But when it's closed, which that shock still has some movement when it's closed, but it's pretty firm, it actually ended up being the fastest, which is kind of crazy. And I think that goes a little bit too with like the road we were on and needing a bike that is still gonna move a little bit to not kind of get hung up on smaller bumps. I think that bike felt like it was still working enough, but so much more efficient than when it is open. I mean, the Scott Spark, I mean, really when it was open, it was a little 2 seconds faster when it was closed. Pretty, you know, second when it was closed, third when it was open against the other bikes. And that bike to me feels like when it's open and in their traction control mode and when it's locked out, it still is more active than like the Exie, which is like almost like it's like a proper lockout. Nothing's moving. I would say the Scott is like that kind of feels like a perfect do everything bike where it pedals pretty well with it being open if you didn't want to mess with the switch, and then if you're really trying to like maximize efficiency, locking it out, you're still going to get a little bit more comfort and a little bit more traction out of it. And then the Arktos, I mean, Arktos is I feel like all these results are kind of interesting. That bike also went slower with the suspension closed, but personally that bike all week riding it has felt really firm pedaling as it is. It doesn't feel like you need to reach down and flip the switch on it. But I mean, it was second fastest behind the Exie when it was open, which shows that it's pretty firm but still getting some traction out of it. But then when it's closed, you know, it went 2 seconds faster, and that was running the exact same watts between those two attempts. Final takeaway is I never want to do that again. But I think that it kind of goes to show which bikes, when they are open and there's no adjustments to the suspension, are already a pretty firm platform. The Exie and the Arktos both show that. And then, you know, when you have a climb that isn't, say, a paved road or a super smooth trail, when you ride a bike with it locked out, you definitely, you know, if your pedal strokes aren't perfect, you're going to be moving a bit more in the saddle, and you kind of you're noticing more feedback through the trail, which can make it harder to kind of keep your speed higher at times. I don't really feel that any of this shows one tire being faster rolling than the next. I think that really they all kind of performed equally. There's probably a bunch of people out there that are way stronger than me, so probably doesn't even matter what bike you get. You can just pedal up the hill faster. For more information and analysis of our efficiency tests, or to learn more about all 4 bikes tested, please head over to vitalmtb.com to check out our complete short travel test session. Thanks for watching.